they battled, score 44 on them, and a battle like we did. I'm proud of them, but just not good enough to win at Nebraska.
What do you think allowed Price to get loose as frequently as it is?
Well, you guys pass the ball really well and run good stuff. So, because there's such great movement, you might help for a second, and there he is. He's going off something, or you guys have some really good passers that get him shots, and he doesn't need much time to get them off. I think he does a great job moving without the ball, but I also think, as I always tell our guys, when you play against offense that have multiple actions, it requires multiple efforts and dealing with screens, and that's hard. And that happened today. We ran in some screens. We didn't have quick enough switch outs, and we've had trouble guarding good 3-point shooters all year long, and you saw that today. He's a very good player, and he's in the perfect system for his game.
Turnovers seemed to be a problem early for you guys.
Yeah.
Was that just self-inflicted, or was that kind of a byproduct?
Yeah, for most of the year we did a good job taking care of the ball for a young team, and then in Big Ten play in certain games it's really hurt us early in games, and then we're behind, and today was an example of that. We had 11 turnovers and only 4 assists in the first half. Second half we had only 4 turnovers and 9 assists, and we started scoring the ball, and we needed to get up. We got off to a good start, I thought, in the first 4 minutes, but then after that we had a lot of self-induced turnovers, and they make you pay. They make you pay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Sam Hoiberg, Jared Garcia. We'll open the floor for questions.
It seemed like you were able to finally get loose again with some off-ball movements. I guess it did feel different today with the way that the offense was moving, just from a rhythm standpoint.
Yeah, thought we had a little bit more pace, getting back to that swagger we play with, and credit my teammates, getting me the ball on time, on target. So.
Jared, how have you managed to stay locked in these past few weeks when your playing time has kind of been on a day-by-day basis?
Just mentally and physically, just trying to be locked in. Approaching practice every day with the mentality to get better and stay ready. So whenever my name is called, I come in and bring some juice.
So what do you say about guys like Jared, Leo stepping in, Braden was out fouls, and then Barricade being unavailable, just for them to step up and play the way that they did?
Yeah, it's a really tough position to be in. I was kind of in that role a couple years ago, so I know how it feels when you don't know if you're going to play, and you just have to stay ready, and it can be hard to stay mentally locked in. And when you're going through scouts, that's the most important thing for when you get in these games. You can't mess up, one thing in our game plan. And credit to Leo and Jared, they came in, executed our game plan, and did some really good things that, maybe guys in the rotation right now that have been consistent aren't able to do, like getting those rebounds, and Leo got some buckets too. So they were huge for us today, and it's really impressive to be able to stay locked in and make an impact like that.
How much of the game plan is Jared was getting after the offensive glass, and how much of that just kind of came in the flow and the rhythm of the game?
Just coming in and just attacking the boards. I mean, adding the extra body down low with me and Leo. We have an advantage with just attacking the boards and just getting extra possessions.
Sam, how much of a message in the days leading into this game since Iowa was there a message from the coaches about the right way to play and getting back to what you're doing well early this season to have a result like this?
Yeah, I like to talk to my dad just privately, after games or the day after. I'll just call him or I'll go home and talk with him. And, we haven't had as good of offense. Our defense has been pretty solid, and it was against Iowa. But when you have a few rough games, you can start to panic and then go away from what worked in the first place. And we talked about we just had to get back to doing what got us to this point, and that's the most important thing you can do. You don't have to panic, start changing everything, get back to what worked, and that's what we did today. We had pace. We didn't change our game plan with how we run offense. We just ran it better, executed it better, and that's the reason we got way more good looks and were able to score more points today.
Bryce, you tied Kerry Cohorn's record again for the most made threes in a game. I guess this is just kind of another feather in the cap for you this season.
Yeah. Honored again. I feel like I'm just chasing all Kerry's records here. But, like I said, I'm not here without my teammates and coaches, so give all credit to them.
Kind of continue with what Sam said, just to take the lid off offensively, not just you, but the whole functioning of the offense. How important was it to have a game like this after the struggles of the last game?
Yeah, really important. We talked about leading up to this, getting that pace back, like I've said, and then setting really good screens as well, cutting hard. It all goes into it. So having a game like this where we kind of, had that pace and just energy overall offensively, just getting that back was big for us, and we'll keep moving that forward.
Iowa, you were disappointed in your rebounding effort, 9 for you today. Just how big of an emphasis was that for you?
Yeah, it was really on my mind. I was pretty frustrated with myself after the last game, and it was definitely on my mind, and I need to do that every game. It just can't be a game by game thing, whether I'm going to get 10 rebounds or I'm going to get 0 rebounds. So need to approach the game the same way every time, and it kind of just opens up everything else as well when I'm not really forcing or pressing on offense, focusing on other things, and that always frees up other stuff.
Sam as an older guy.
What do you think got the offense really rolling after the first 10 minutes? Felt like Kerry found its rhythm. What do you think led to that?
We were turning the ball over early, and that's been the big issue lately is our ball security. And then we got back to what works with this team, which is having good pace, smart pace, and taking care of the ball. And, looking for price in transition was a big emphasis. And that's what got him those 8 threes today. We had a lot of them in transition. And once we started taking care of the ball, we were able to really run our stuff.
How much do you, Sam, as an older guy, 27 games into the season, pay attention to just where the team's at, where everybody's at physically and mentally this time of year? Obviously, both of those things can kind of start to wear on you get closer to March.
Yeah, it's true. This time of year can get tough. It's kind of the dog days of the season when, your body's really starting to hurt. You played a lot of games, and mentally, some guys, you go through slumps throughout the season, and you have to just make sure everyone stays level. And one thing I talked to Frager about was just getting back to being himself out there and showing his personality. Obviously, not to a point where he's going to get teed up, stuff like that, but he has to be himself out there for him to play at his best. And I thought he played great today, even with the foul trouble. So you have to kind of monitor it as a leader, and just kind of we've really emphasized the last couple of days just like, have fun with it. When we were having fun earlier this season is when we were playing our best, and that's kind of messing around during a lift and stuff like that, whatever it is, I think that leads to success. And don't tell Kurt I said that.
Being in that kind of zone, making 8 threes, and there's a couple of times your arms are out, and one time it prompted Penn State to call a timeout, and they kicked on the music and all that stuff. It seemed like that would be pretty fun to be a part of.
Oh yeah, definitely. You get the energy back in the building. That's something we talked about as well. Was getting the energy in the building quick and getting off to a fast start. So seeing those first few come in and it provides a spark right away. And so it was important for us to get off to that start. And it wasn't just me. We were making great plays all around. So.
How many press does it take for you to hit before you're comfortable stepping into those ones that are further back, or there's a guy closer up on you? At what point do you get to that comfort zone that
0? 0. Yeah. Doesn't take any.
Anything else for players?
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
I guess to start, you got an update on Jamarcus?
No, I won't really have an update on him. It's his ankle, that I know, and he just tweaked it. Didn't appear to swell up too much initially, but you never know how those things react overnight, and still got adrenaline running through his body, so we'll know a lot more about Jamarcus tomorrow. Burke, yeah, he was a late scratch. He actually didn't practice 2 days ago. Had something very similar to what Rink had with his stomach. And then yesterday he came in and he felt completely fine, was at our shoot-around and our film session this morning. And right before his warm-up at about 60 on the clock, he had to go back into the bathroom and started throwing up again. So he was a late scratch, obviously, and told Braden he was going to get the opportunity to go out there and start, and told everybody else, be ready when your name's called and go out and make a positive contribution to the game. And I thought Leo and Jared were unbelievable in that first half. I thought Braden got us off to a really good start, making some effort, hustle plays, getting on the offensive boards. And then Jared came in when Braden got the 2 fouls and really picked up for him. But those 2 guys combined get 7 offensive rebounds. That's huge for our team. And, the other thing about it, Rink obviously had some struggles going on in the first half. And when you have a guy that can go in, Leo, I thought was terrific in those last few minutes, and it allows the Rink to regroup. And I thought Rink was so much better in the last 20 minutes of that game.
you just touched on this, but how do you describe what you got from Jared and Leo today?
Yeah, I mean, it just when you go in the game, you don't want to disrupt the flow, and you've got some momentum. You don't want to give it back when you go to your bench. And I'll say this: Jared had his best week of practice that he's had since he's been here. He did a great job coming in, getting extra work, getting extra film, and getting extra conditioning. And I thought it paid off for him, and that's great when you have those types of things, and you see how that hard work pays off. That's what this thing's all about. And we're going to need those guys down the stretch. We get 5 games left, and then into the postseason. And it'd be nice to be able to get guys a little break here and there. Price obviously was terrific all game long and played 35 minutes, which for him is pretty pedestrian, with what he normally plays. But it was great to see him. I mean, he had that thing stuck on automatic there in the first half, and I thought our guys did a great job finding him in transition. He's obviously a ton of attention in the half court, so being able to get him freed up in transition was big today.
Price, but also just the offense as a whole to just kind of take the lid off and get the flow going again. How encouraging was that to see after the last week?
Yeah, it was really encouraging, Rob. And and we went through a stretch in the first half where we didn't put the ball in the basket. I thought we really were rushed in our paint decisions, and that led to a couple blocks. It led to a couple turnovers. Once we got in there and got, touched the paint and sprayed it out, we got really good looks. And I thought we left some on the board as well. But once we slowed down and made the right decisions, I thought overall we did a solid job. Penn State, they're one of the best teams in turning you over. I think we ended up with 11. A couple of those were unforced. Ball goes through our hands on a few of them. A couple late, but I thought for the most part we did a good job taking care of it.
The overall importance of allowing a player like Rink to have those moments to regroup and be able to turn a game around.
Yeah, it's important, and obviously when you lose a guy like BK, he's so important to what we do. And I think you saw that last year when BK had his injury and what happened to our team when we didn't have him available. He just does so much for us. You can play through him. He can handle the ball. He can play against pressure. He can finish. He can rebound. He does a lot of things for this team. He's our best analytically when you look at him on the defensive end. He's the best we've got. So when you lose a guy like that, it gives you a little bit of anxiety. But again, I'm proud of how those guys hadn't gotten a lot of time, how they went in there and impacted the game.
The energy that Braden brought, is that an extension of what you were talking about yesterday, that his body's feeling better and he's more capable of doing those kind of things?
100%, yeah, and he is. I met with him yesterday afternoon, and I just told him, I said, I need that fearless Frager back. And I thought he went out and made listen, he's going to start making shots. He hit a couple for us today. But I need, a guy go get extra possessions for us and rebounds and playing with the swagger. And I thought he got back to that today. So that's huge. That's huge. Obviously, we need his production. And, for him to go out and play the way he did after having a week and a half of struggles, a lot of that, I think, was due to the injury. He told me yesterday that was the best he had felt in a practice in a long time since he got injured. So, I thought that part of it is physically he's feeling a lot better, and it was good to see that carry over to the floor.
Set the tone on the offensive glass.
100%. Yeah, he did. He did go out and get those extra possessions. We needed those early. Yep.
They had almost a 7-minute stretch where they didn't score there in the first half. What do you see on that end of the floor that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I thought we had really good activity on that end of the floor. I thought our double teams were sharp. I thought we rotated well out of them. Second half, they got loose for about a 5 or 6 minute stretch. When we got it up to 28, I think they cut it back down to 14 at one point. That can't happen. So I didn't love that stretch, but we had some really good defensive possessions out there as well. And again, it was good to see the ball going in the basket. Now we got to combine both. For the most part, we did that today, but we're certainly going to need that moving forward.
Coming out of Brett, is there a sense of relief after a performance like this?
No, it's a great win for us, and now we got to win the recovery day tomorrow. I know I talk a lot about that, but it's important. These guys have to get back. If you didn't get a lot of minutes, get in there, get your shots up, get a little conditioning in. If you need to sit in the ice tub, sit in the ice tub, and we need to be ready to get back on the floor on Monday and play a Maryland team that's playing their best basketball this season right now.
The guys overall took the message about it's not reinventing the wheel, it's just fixing the execution stuff and getting back to who they were before.
Yeah, I thought our flow was good. We talk a lot about playing within the flow of the possession, whether it's Rink at the elbow or Rink at the top of the floor and then cut off him. For the most part, I thought we took a step in the right direction in that today, but we made our open shots today as well. And, we had not been shooting the ball very well the previous couple games. So to be able to take the lid off, hopefully that's a confidence builder for these guys. Thanks, guys.